Dear students, someone has very correctly remarked, health is wealth. Health is not mainly an issue of doctors, diseases, medicines, hospitals or social services. It is an issue of social justice. So let me introduce you to the word health. Health has been declared a fundamental human right. This implies that the state and central government have a responsibility for the health of their people. Besides, individual person also has to bear the responsibility. So dear students, today we will focus our attention to salient points regarding health in rural India. This will include rural hygiene, sanitation and health. We would discuss the present situation in rural India, and regarding this matter, then we will discuss few groups of people and finally try to find out some solutions and work done by our government, private organizations, etc. in this regard to implement the desired outcome. Now coming to the new concepts for health. Health is fundamental human right, does not mean expenditure on medical care only. It is integral part of human development and it is essential for quality of life. It involves individual, state, national and international responsibility. Health is a worldwide goal, social goal. And you know, India is a country which has basically two types of community. One is rural society and the other one is urban society. Rural India means those who live in villages, and India is a land of villages. There are 6,38,000 villages. Out of every 1,000 people, 742 live in villages according to 2001 census. The average population of Indian village is 100 to 550 families. They are self-sufficient units for most of their routine requirements of its people and depend mainly on agriculture. Towns and cities comprise the urban society. This is relatively large and dense and represent the way of living of man in modern age, and they depend less on agriculture. So our discussion today will be restricted basically to rural health, hygiene and sanitation. Rural health depends on many factors. The living conditions and standard are not fit for healthy living. The diseases which occur, they are studied in relation to many factors. Now we will discuss them one by one. First of all, let us take hygiene. Hygiene, the word hygiene is derived from Greek mythology, which means the goddess of health. Hygiene can be divided into two parts, personal and environmental. The level of personal cleanliness, which is very poor in rural Indian public, and this is the root cause for their ill health. There is lack of bathing, using clean clothes, then washing hands, care of nails, feet, teeth and hair, spitting everywhere, coughing and sneezing without putting any cloth over their face and nose. These are all factors which these habits they predispose people of rural area to many health hazards. They do not have proper habits for toilets. These people, they go to defecate in open fields. They think that the urban people go to the sanitary toilets because there is lack of lands there and they don't have open fields to defecate. That is why they are using sanitary latrines, but they don't have the concept. They don't know what is the basic idea for using a sanitary latrine. They don't know that in open fields, if defecation takes place, it contaminates soils, and therefore it becomes the cause of a spread of many disease causing agents, and so the persons fall ill. Then environmental hygiene. This includes domestic and community environmental hygiene. In rural India, people have lack of knowledge about the benefits of living in fresh air, good light, proper ventilation, hygienic cooking and storage of food, hygienic disposal of waste material, and they do not understand the importance of avoiding rats, pets and insects in order to remain healthy. Living together with kettles in unhygienic conditions, improper disposal of sludge and sewer with muddy houses, and improper drainage system with stagnant water, all these factors predispose breeding of flies and mosquitoes, which become the cause for many diseases. Now let us consider the epidemiological triad. This means that unhygienic atmosphere, this produces disease causing agents and organisms, and these agents and organisms, once they get proper conditions, they affect the host and produce the disease, and the diseased person again pollutes the atmosphere. So this becomes a triad. One is the unhygienic atmosphere, the other one is the production of causing agents, and the third one is the host. So all these things are interrelated, and the improper personal hygiene, environmental hygiene, all these things predispose to the unhygienic atmosphere, and this epidemiological triad becomes complete. So the diseases are caused. Now let us consider food habits of these people. These people are malnourished. Malnourishing means improper nutrition, and this is the problem in rural India. The causes of malnutrition being inability to afford due to less income, illiteracy, having no knowledge about balanced diet and their nutritional value, faulty food habits, use of previously cooked and unhygienically preserved food. Male members of the family eat first and ladies in the last, who remain malnourished. Usually, wives take the leftover food of their husbands, may it be sufficient or not. Children get unbalanced diet, resulting into protein energy malnutrition, causing diseases like kwashiorkor. These diseases, they produce pot belly, like their abdomen is very much enlarged, their development of muscles is too less, and they are not energetic, so they fall ill, and gradually they become so weak that they may even die. And this is all because of carelessness regarding their food habit and their lack of knowledge regarding foods to the children. Then these people share same utensils at the same time while eating, then dining in an unhygienic place with flies, rodents and arthropods. Then comes the factor that is cultural factor and social beliefs. Rural people believe that certain diseases like smallpox, which is known as Badi Mata, and chickenpox, which is known as Choti Mata, they are the result of wrath of God and Goddess. Diseases such as leprosy and tuberculosis are believed to be the result of past sin, although now we know that these diseases are totally curable and they are infective diseases, so they are preventive also. But this is the misconception in the minds of the rural people and even most of the urban people, that these diseases are the result of past sin. Children are susceptible to evil eyes. This is the belief of rural and even educated class in urban areas. Some diseases like hysteria and epilepsy are regarded as intrusion of ghosts into the body, whereas we know that this is not the cause. This is because there are so many foci in the brain which get electrically stimulated and they discharge impulses so that these diseases result. Now let us discuss some of the social customs. Some of the social customs are really bad in rural India, and some of them are early child marriage, willing to have male child only. These people, they don't want to have a female baby, and they want to have only male child because they think that they will increase their family, and then they give less opportunity to eat, grow, learn and express to female child. Having more number of children gives them physical strength, social status and feeling of personal elevation. They believe that those having more number of children have good say and respect in rural society. Sacrificing the life of the first child to have more children, then widows are thought to be bad omen. They don't allow them to attend any of the social functions, etc. Then widows, if they become a widow during their early childhood even, they are not allowed to remarry. And these are some of the bad social customs and beliefs. All these things are there because of lack of education. This results into not having open mind and broad mind to think. Then coming to occupation in rural India. In rural India, as I said, the basic occupation of people is related to agriculture. The whole of family, including females and children, adopt this and depend for income on that. There are many drawbacks and flaws with this, like they do not adopt modern methods of agriculture due to lack of knowledge, equipments and manure, using only traditional ways of harvesting, which gives them poor yield and so less income. Mostly they have to depend on natural rainwater for irrigation of crops, which many times it becomes a mismatch in terms of requirement in time and amount, resulting into poor yield. They do not get proper seeds to sow at proper time. Neither most of them are aware of many help which is provided to them regarding this through various government organizations. They have to face various natural calamities like flood, drought and fire, etc. In rural India, people also depend on cattle yield, for example, milk and its products. Their cattle do not keep good health and hygiene due to lack of knowledge. And because of this reason, if they are earning through this source, they have less income, because they have to spend on the health of their cattle also, and the yield is less, so they have poor income. For their occupation, most of them walk barefooted in fields, so exposed to many parasitic infestations Dusty atmosphere here predisposes them to many respiratory, skin and gastrointestinal diseases. Then comes the problem of population. Not only the rural India, but the whole country is facing this problem, which leads to problems in each aspect of development, especially education, housing, sanitation, healthcare and employment. This is because of lack of education, planning and belief that children are given by God, so their birth must not be controlled. Besides, as I have already said, that rural people think and have a strong belief that more number of children provide them physical strength and high status in rural society with more respectable and acceptable personality. Now let us discuss about education. Declaration of Human Rights 1948 states that everyone has a right to be educated. Literate means a person who can read and write with understanding in any language. A person who can merely read and cannot write is not considered to be literate. According to Census 2001, the literacy rate in India was 65.38%. In rural India, people do not understand the importance of their children being educated, and if at all they wish to, there are no proper primary and secondary schools for children. For female education, most of them are dead against. They do not have positive attitude towards education. Lack of education is a great hindrance in the path of their progress. Now, the rural sanitation. This means the atmosphere where people live in. Sanitation in rural India is very poor because of following factors. Disposal of human excreta. 98% of people in rural area use open fields for defecation. This practice is because rural population is not aware of the idea of hygienic latrines. They feel that they are meant for urban areas where there are no or less fields. They are ignorant that feces is infectious and pollute water and soil, therefore promotes fly breeding and spread of infections. Then disposal of waste. The average villager is not aware that mosquitoes breed in stagnant wastewater. It is permitted to flow in streets. The solid waste is invariably thrown in front of houses, may it be garbage or animal waste and excreta. Animal excreta, for example, cow dung, are allowed to accumulate in front of houses as they use it as manure and make discs out of it for fuel. Let us consider the water supply. It is mostly from well, where all of them go to bathe and wash their clothes and utensils. Animals are also washed here and given water to drink. These practices leads to pollution of well water, which becomes source of infection. Tanks, ponds and rivers are also used by them in the same way. Some rivers are considered holy. People take dip in that, drink the same water and bottle this water as it is considered sacred. But they do not know that once such kind of water is used for drinking or it is bottled and used, it is a medium where so many disease causing agents grow, and once it is taken, ingested, then many epidemics can burst, like cholera and various gastrointestinal diseases. Ponds and rivers are also open, and they are used in the same way with the same habits. So these water are also polluted. I remember when I was posted in Madhya Pradesh, that was a rural area, and water supply over there was really very much horrible. Water was coming directly from the rivers. There are so many mahua trees on the way. The leaves and its fruits used to fall in that water, and only that water was supplied in the houses to drink. And people, they were unaware that such an polluted water is very harmful for the body, but they used to drink it the same way. But once we reached there as doctors, we advised them to boil the same water before drinking, and we used to put alum in it after boiling the water, so that particulate matters used to settle down, and we used to filter that water and then use it, so that it became usable, and some purity could be assured. Now coming to housing. Rural houses are practically the same all over the country. They are usually kacha houses, means they are made of mud. They are ill-lighted, ill-ventilated, damp and small. For reasons of security, no windows are provided, and if at all, it is merely a hole. Absence of a kitchen, latrine, bathroom and proper drainage are the characteristic features of an average rural house. Most of the times, kettles and human beings live together under one roof. For cleaning these houses, they paste them with mud and cow dung. All these things promote multiplication of mosquitoes, flies, arthropods, for example, cockroaches and rodents. Rat infestation causes plague, a dreadful disease. Then comes overcrowding. More number of people living together in the same space, which is much smaller in area, produces overcrowding. This results in restricted movements, difficulty in rest and sleep, disturbance in privacy, maintenance of hygiene, increased chances of infectious diseases. So far, we have discussed many factors which predispose rural population to ill health and health hazards. Now, we would discuss at least 3 major groups of people who really need attention for the improvement of their health. And they are female patients belonging to obstetrics and gynecological group, newborn babies and children, and geriatric patients, that is old age people. These special group in rural India needs different type of care, and so they must be considered here in some detail. Now, first of all, I would like to discuss obstetric and gynecological group. Women of childbearing age, that is 15 to 45 years, come under this group. In rural India, consideration and facility in this regard is very less. The causes being, first of all, the lack of knowledge, lack of facilities, beliefs and myths, then lack of money, mismanagement, above all, negative attitude. Women do not disclose their problems out of shy and keep on hiding them lifelong and suffer silently. Obstetrics is a preventive medicine and provides care throughout pregnancy for the future mother and her baby. And this aspect is known as antenatal care, means the care of the mother during pregnancy. The day she conceives and it is being informed, she is under the care of some doctor or some medical person, so that she is provided with many examinations and care to improve this situation and to give a better outcome. The second comes the intranatal care. Intranatal care is the care of the mother and baby during the process of childbirth. And the third one is care of mother and the newborn baby, which is known as postnatal care. Antenatal care, the objectives of antenatal care are to promote, protect and maintain the health of would-be mothers during pregnancy. And then to detect high-risk mothers having problems to themselves or to the fetus, that means the baby which is growing inside the womb of the mother. We have to identify high blood pressure, heart diseases, diabetes, severe anemia, which is very common in rural India. Then multiple pregnancies, for example twins, then previous cesarean sections, that means a delivery which took place by operation, then previous stillbirths, that means the mother, if she gives birth to a dead baby, it is known as a stillbirth. Elderly primary means those patients who are aged and have conceived for the first time. Antepartum hemorrhage, that means the bleeding through vagina which occurs during pregnancy, and so on. There is a long list to identify the high-risk patients, and we identify them so that we can provide them better care during antenatal period, so that the ill effects which are anticipated during these situations, they are avoided or at least minimized. Then we provide antenatal care to reduce maternal and infant mortality rate, to teach mothers to take care of their babies, breastfeeding, vaccination and personal hygiene, etc. During the antenatal period, we examine the patient, we select the cases and we give them certain advices. And advices include advices regarding diet, that is pregnancy and breastfeeding needs extra energy, so mother needs considerable amount of extra calories which she derives from her diet. Child survival is correlated to birth weight, so she has to take extra carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, iron and calcium in her diet. Rural Indian food is poor in all these respects. Besides, family members do not have positive attitudes towards expecting mother's diet. Family members must be counseled for that, and they must be told about the importance of balanced diet and importance of diet which is needed by the expectant mothers, and they must be reminded of their moral duties to provide this kind of diet to their females. All these things can be provided to the rural people by regular personal contacts and by social workers in rural areas. During antenatal care, we tell the importance of personal hygiene to the patients, and this includes personal cleanliness, daily bath, care of their nails, teeth and hair and clothes, care of bowel, constipation and loose motions both are avoided, as constipation may lead to abortions and loose motions in the same way. Exercises, light household work is allowed, overexertion avoided. Until unless any kind of exertion or even usual indoor activities are restricted in certain diseases, certain problems like antepartum hemorrhage or increased number of abortions, etc., which are told to the patients that they must not work. They should take rest in bed. At times we have to ask them to take bed rest even with raised foot end. Then general instructions, rest and sleep should be adequate, and recommended duration is 10 hours per 24 hours. That means 8 hours sleep in the night and 2 hours in the daytime. Then comes smoking. In rural India, ladies smoke also sometimes, so it should be avoided to prevent low birth weight babies. As you know, the outcome of the life of the baby is dependent upon the birth weight, so at least one factor which could be controlled is to avoid smoking, and we know that rural women sometimes smoke. Contact should be avoided during early 3 months and last 2 months of pregnancy. Use of drugs that are not absolutely essential must be discouraged. Exposure to X-rays and eclipse avoided. Then they should be told about some warning signs. For example, bleeding per vaginum or leaking, and loss or decreased of fetal movement, headache, blurring of vision, swelling of feet. All these are danger signs which should be immediately reported and taken care of to avoid gross mishappenings. Patient must be made to learn the art of child care. Special care. Low socioeconomic group of Indian rural women are anemic most of the times, even before pregnancy, so special care for them to reduce this by providing iron, folic acid, vitamins, proteins and calcium. HIV infection, they must be advised, if found to be positive for HIV infection, they must be asked for therapeutic abortion. Intranatal care, childbirth is normal physiological process, but complications can arise, so care must be taken for. Asepsis, that is to prevent infection by promoting hygiene, sanitation, clean hands, cut fingernails, clean utensils, clean surface and instruments for delivery, and tetanus must be avoided. Then domiciliary care. If home conditions are hygienic and satisfactory, delivery may take place by female health worker or trained dye. This is known as domiciliary midwifery service. There are certain advantages of domiciliary treatment. First of all, fearless delivery in familiar atmosphere, avoidance of cross infection as it can occur in hospitals. Then mothers can look after her previous children and household affairs. There are certain disadvantages also. Less medical and nursing supervision than in hospital. Mothers may have less rest and resume her domestic duties too soon. Since 74% of population lives in rural area, so most of the deliveries have to take place in home with the help of female health worker. But then she should be adequately trained and be able to recognize danger signs during childbirth and seek immediate help in transferring the mother to the nearest primary health center or hospital. Institutional care. All difficult and abnormal cases with high risk need the services of a doctor, so all high-risk cases must deliver in hospital. Now let us discuss the postnatal period. Postnatal care means that care of the mother and the newborn after delivery. Special care of the baby in normal and abnormal condition comes under the field of pediatrics. The aims of care of the mother: to prevent complications of postnatal period in the form of hemorrhage, that is excessive blood loss, then shock, means if there is circulatory failure, and sepsis, and sometimes thrombophlebitis, that means inflammation of the veins, which may even lead to thrombus formation, and thrombosis, that means that clotted blood may even obstruct any of the major vessels, which may lead to dangerous situation and even death sometimes. Then to check adequacy of breast milk, to provide basic health education to mother and family, to restore optimum health of mother, to care for psychological problems as the new mother feels incapable of holding the responsibility of her newborn baby, to provide family planning services. Then comes the care of baby. Breastfeeding. A great asset in India is that an average Indian mother, although poor in nutritional status, has a remarkable ability to breastfeed her infants for a prolonged period of time. But she should breastfeed her baby up to 10 months of age, which is sufficient for the baby's good health, and it protects him from various diseases. Weaning should be started at least at the age of 4 months. Weaning, I must tell you, it is the introduction of certain top-up foods along with breast milk and fruit juices, dal, cooked and mashed vegetables and animal milk. The most important aspect in newborn baby's care is vaccination. Vaccinations are the injections or other forms of medication which protect the babies from various diseases. For example, smallpox, hepatitis B, poliomyelitis, etc. Show me the slide, please. The recommended schedule for immunization of children by WHO. For infants, at birth we provide BCG vaccination, which is against tuberculosis, and we give oral polio vaccine, first dose, and hepatitis B vaccine, which is injectable one, first dose at birth. Then at the age of 6 weeks we provide oral polio vaccine, second dose, DPT first dose, and hepatitis B second dose. DPT means this is a vaccination against 3 diseases: diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. At the age of 10 weeks, we provide oral polio third dose and DPT second dose and hepatitis B third dose. And this should be given 6 months after the first dose. Then at 14 weeks, we give oral polio vaccine fourth dose, DPT second dose. At 9 months of age, we provide measles vaccine. At 16 months to 24 months, DPT and oral polio booster is given, and at the age of 10 years to 16 years, we provide tetanus toxoid. Important thing regarding the vaccination is that interval between 2 doses should not be less than 1 month. Minor coughs, colds and fevers are not contraindication for vaccination, and while giving oral polio vaccine, baby should not be fed half an hour before or half an hour after vaccination. This was about the care of the obstetric group and pediatric group, newborn babies. Now I'll consider health of aged, which is known as geriatrics. Aging is a natural process, and it is said old age is an incurable disease, but one has to promote it, protect it and extend it. There are certain different problems of aged people like senile cataract, glaucoma, deafness, bony changes like osteoarthritis leading to decreased mobility, failure of spatial senses, changes in memory and mental outlook, cancer, accidents, respiratory illnesses and so on. There is a long list. Then psychological problems, impaired memory, dependency, social maladjustments, depressions. These are the common problems. So much care is to be given to the old people. In Western countries, these different societies and government provide them special care, but in India, it is mostly due to emotional bonding between the aged and their children. After having a background of rural sanitation, hygiene and health, let us now discuss how the health care is delivered in rural area. In order to understand this, we must know about health problems in rural India, and these health problems to enumerate are communicable diseases, nutritional problems, environmental sanitation, population problem, medical care and health education. There are certain communicable diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, diarrhea, acute respiratory distress diseases, and recent problems is swine flu. You might have read in newspapers and you might have seen in TVs and all channels that swine flu, it came from foreign countries and it infested our people also, and so many deaths took place because of swine flu. Then leprosy, filaria, AIDS, etc. Hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is controlled up to certain extent because proper vaccination has been given. Then helminthes infestations like hookworm, ascariasis, etc. Then nutritional problems, protein energy malnutritional, nutritional anemia, low birth weight, iodine deficiency disorders like hypothyroidism, in which the person becomes very lethargic and so he needs treatment. Then nutritional blindness, etc. can take place. Environmental sanitation, here we must consider at least 2 points in brief, and that is purification of water, provision of sanitary latrines and rural housing. Purification of water. It is of great importance to provide good health to rural people. For large scale purification, following diagram is for filtration plant which will help in purification of water. Say there is one river which provides water to the rural area people. It must be purified. First of all, alum is put over in a mixing chamber. Then this water, after mixing with alum, goes to the flocculation chamber, and after that it goes to the sedimentation tank where the precipitate is sedimented, and then it passes to the filter chamber where it is filtered properly. After that it is treated with chlorine, and the clear water is stored and it is ready for consumption. Then purification of water on a small scale can be done for domestic use by boiling water and by putting chemical disinfection by bleaching powder or chlorine tablets or iodine. The calculated amount of these tablets are to be added only according to the amount of water, so that it does not lead to any toxicity. Then comes the sanitary latrines. Sanitary latrine is one which does not contaminate ground or surface water, and it should not be accessible to flies, rodents, animals or vehicles, and should not create any nuisance due to bad odors. One must be aware that feces, it contaminates water, it contaminates fingers, it contaminates flies and soil, and all these things, once they reach to food, they produce diseases in the new host and produce diseases. So there should be at least 2 types of sanitary latrines which can very easily be provided in the rural areas. They are borehole latrines and water seal latrines. In the case of borehole latrines, a pit is dug which should be 20 feet deep, and it should have a diameter of 16 inches, and latrine is collected there. And in the underwater seal latrines, it should be 10 to 20 feet and it should be 30 feet deep with the underwater seal. Now coming to health education. Health education is indispensable in achieving good health in rural India. The contents of health education must include human biology, in simple understandable language, care of body, how to keep fit, need for exercises, sleep and rest, the effects of tobacco smoking, bidi and other drugs or alcohol intake must be emphasized. About the nutrition, to guide rural people to choose optimum balanced diet, promote good dietary habits, regularity in meals, misconceptions about weaning of their babies, ignorance about diet for pregnant and lactating mothers, breastfeeding, and proper diet to aged and developing children. Prevention of accidents at home, workplace, so proper safety measures must be used. Use of health services which are provided to them by government through various health programs, schemes and NGOs. Then methods in health education. Individual approach like personal contacts, personal home visits, then group approach like lectures, demonstrations, etc. Mass approach like radio, televisions, posters, exhibitions, etc. Now let us consider few points regarding the delivery of health care in rural India. This needs health manpower, which could be professionals and auxiliary, money and materials, time, etc. All these things, when they are combined together, then only the health care can be provided to the rural people. Health manpower. There are programs for training local DIs in terms of sterilization. Workers should be local resident and they should be acceptable to all sections of rural societies and should be able to read and write, should be able to convince the people. These people are given training, and on completion of their training they are given few medicines to treat simple ailments and provide first aid, etc. Related to child and mother's health and family planning. In cases of problems, they should send cases to nearest primary health center. There are sub-center level. This is peripheral outpost of existing health delivery system. One person is posted for 5,000 population. And primary health center or PHCs as they are known, this is the basic health unit in rural care, and this provides curative and preventive health care in rural areas. Now comes the money and material. Scarcity of money affects health system in rural India. Since it is always short, it must be put to best of use with an eye to maximum output. Since death rate due to measles, cough, tuberculosis, tetanus, malnutrition is more, so it is better to spend more money on these projects. Then time factor is also important. Administrative's delay in sanctioning health projects means loss of time, So proper use of man working hours should be made. There are various programs for the rural health development, rural community development programs, ICDS programs, that means integrated child development services, then integrated rural development programs, Janani Suraksha Yojana, that is JSY. Under these programs, institutional deliveries are promoted and patients and health promoters are given awards. Then there is NRHM. NRHM means National Rural Health Mission, and this is the mission of Government of India, and the Director General, Mr. G.C. Chaturvedi, in 2005, he started this, and please show the clipping so that they can understand it better.
Girish Chaturvedi, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Health, Government of India, and I am heading the National Rural Health Mission as Mission Director. National Rural Health Mission is a huge program launched by Government of India in the year 2005. Basically, it has got 5 components. One is communitization of health services, another is flexible financing, third is building capacity, fourth is innovative human resource engagement, and fifth is setting standards for measuring the success. This has become now an overarching program because it is not a project or a specific program. It is dealing with the health system improvement as such. So it is cutting across all the programs. It's not a vertical program by itself. NRHM nowadays includes even all the disease control programs, TB, malaria, blindness, leprosy, whatnot, hygiene deficiency. All these things are combined into it. And all the programs are drawing the support from the health systems, which is being strengthened at different levels, starting from the village up to the district level for the time being. We are intending to go up to the medical colleges because now we have come across a roadblock. We are not getting enough trained manpower in the form of doctors, nurses, auxiliary nurse, midwives, etc. So we're trying to increase the number of seats, open more medical colleges, more nursing colleges, nursing schools, and training centers. In India, health is a state subject, so we can only convince, sensitize states, but actual delivery is to be done by the states themselves. One of the most successful interventions which states have brought in and which are being replicated all along the country, one is emergency medical relief referral transport system, which was initiated by Andhra Pradesh, and now with the help of PPP, it's a public-private participation model. Satyam Computers has its social corporate responsibility, which had initiated it in Andhra Pradesh. Now they have entered into an MOU with 8 states. And in Andhra, they have got almost little more than 500 ambulances on the road. It's all being controlled through a call center run by Satyam. The personnel for managing the ambulances, etc., are also being provided by Satyam, but the payment is being made by the respective state government. It is already operational in Gujarat also, Kerala, Assam, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. The second initiative which has come from the state relates to basically reaching out to the unserviced or underserviced areas. Like Assam has gone in for boat clinic, and some other states have started very innovative methods of attracting people to its facilities. Janani Suraksha Yojana is another huge incentive scheme which has created demand, and now we have to match it with supply. All across, I can say that engaging people on contract who are local residents, who are locally available, is one of the major things which has happened, and we have been able to engage almost 1/3 of the strength in addition to what was there when the mission was started in the year 2005.
So you have listened to Mr. G.C. Chaturvedi regarding this matter. Now to sum up, health, hygiene and sanitation in rural India, it is all interrelated. We have discussed so far the rural hygiene, rural sanitation, their living conditions, their social customs, beliefs, and their different problems in different age group people and pediatric group, as well as obstetric and gynecological group. And we discussed many rural health programs, etc. So we must take care of to provide socially and economically productive life in rural India with the help of government, private organizations, various NGOs, PPP, that means private public participation, and various international help like WHO, etc. And with the help of all these things, we can provide better health services to our rural people. Thank you very much for listening.